Nice.
And good morning, everybody. Good morning from me in Colorado. Good morning for y'all on the East Coast out there in Virginia. Harish and David are out there. We've got a very special guest with us today on the Talking Hats. It's Mr. David Lee, aka David Betts, Methodical on Twitter. You can reach us at the Talking Hats on Twitter, Talking Hats Podcast at gmail.com, Talking Hats HD on TikTok, or call us 720-735-2342. And let's get this going. I'm going to give David a quick intro here. I've known him for about 11 years, I think, 12 years. We worked together for a long time. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think I actually met Harish the same year. So we've got a nice growing brotherhood here. And Harish and David met a few years ago. And David is, in my opinion, the foremost expert on sports betting. He just hit a he hit a Jokic triple-double bet last night. And I mean, he throws everything. He throws these things at the wall. Yeah. But no, it's not luck. Dude knows what he's doing. So that's why we're having him on to talk sports and, betting and all that. Talking Hats HD podcast. I'm Dale. That's Harish up there in the corner. And we got David down here. So I'm going to go ahead and get things started. David, throw some stuff at us. Actually, before we even get into the gambling stuff, you said you wanted to challenge some of our debate some of our positions we had last week.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah. I want to know what this is all about. I'm putting you on the spot
exactly.
here.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right. Well, hey guys, it's David. Appreciate you inviting me to your podcast.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming.
I saw a couple of your debates that you previously had. And the talks about, I had a disagreement with the Phil Jackson take. I believe Harish stated that he didn't believe he was a good coach. To me, he's like one of the best coaches ever, man. He has his own triangle offense that people try to emulate. And I mean, I understand he had Jordan and Kobe. But it takes a great coach to be able to coach superstars. Yeah. So there are good coaches who develop players. And then there's the other great coaches who are able to take the superstars to the next level. And you could see the level of, his ability, like when he left. And, Kobe wasn't the same. I think he won one ring, or did he win one or two without Phil Jackson? No, or he didn't win any with.
He didn't win any ring until right. Phil came there. I think that's when he won the two, and then when Phil left,
he won. He won three with Shaq, and then two without Shaq, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Phil was still coaching those teams.
I think so.
With Gasol and
yeah.
I think so. I think he was when they won versus Orlando and Boston, right? Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. Phil was still coaching there after Shaq left. That's when that huge debacle happened, and then Kobe gave that challenge that I can win without him as well. So he did win two more, but it's also to refute the fact that. Yes, I do think that's right. I'm not saying anything, but you also have assistant coaches who are also part of the entire collaboration.
Tex Winter in particular.
In particular, right. And also it's collaboration of egos, which I also said it's very important. I mean, great coaching takes both X's and O's and kind of manage the egos. But when you have a solid team like that, the brain power that's already installed in those players can tell the coach, okay, I can tell them to go out there, they know exactly what to do. And then when they screw up, that's when the assistant coaches comes in and say, hey, you can't do this or you can't do that, because managing the egos is one point of it, but actually the X's and O's comes down to the assistant coaches kind of positioning the players where they need to be or how they need to play. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but because Phil always went to a team, in my opinion, was already set. Like Doug Collins built that team before he left Chicago. And then when Phil came in, he took it to the next level. And until Pippen got there, Jordan elevated his game even further until they got this other pieces around him. So then when Phil went to, I guess, the Lakers, I think he had a hiatus for a while before he went. He took the players that were there and he said, okay, Kobe, he's the guy. Because what was it? Was it Del Harris, if I remember, who was coaching beforehand, didn't want to play Kobe? Was it Del Harris? He was I forgot. I'm sorry. It wasn't not Del Harris.
You might be right.
Sounds.
But when people bring up, is it the coach or is it the player? You got an example with Belichick and Brady leaving and still winning. I think Phil, and then you look at Phil, he went to New York and was a disaster, even though he wasn't coaching. He built the team in his image and it didn't work out. But I hear what David's saying as far as, you got to be able to manage these egos and make the team buy into your system. He had the triangle offense with Tex Winter in Chicago. You said he replaced Doug Collins, and Doug Collins built that team. Doug Collins couldn't get him over the top, though. Like, he barely could get him out of the first round with Jordan. So, like, I give Phil some credit for being able to take that team. And then you got Mark Jackson, who built the Warriors, and then Steve Kerr took him over. Mark Jackson couldn't get them over the hump, and Steve Kerr did. Yeah. So, the coaching definitely makes a difference.
I think it does. I think if LeBron had like a legit coach throughout his career, he would probably have more than 3 rings.
Oh yeah, that's understandable. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's not the great. I'm just saying if you went to the Clippers and built that team from scratch, then I can say, okay, that's kind of good for him to go for.
But that's not what he does. That's not his forte. His forte.
So that's the thing, though, right? Well, that's also the thing, though, right? If he's already going to a team with a bunch of superstars that's already been established, and then saying to the superstars that, hey, I'm going to put this new kind of system in, follow the system, and the system will work. You can buy into the system because he's already a proven coach. You're not going to argue the 6 championships.
I think this is one we're going to have to agree to disagree on, because I think there's credence on both sides, and it's hard for me to even pick a side. I believe Phil was a great coach. I wouldn't dare to ever say he was mediocre or just a manager or anything like that. I think his record speaks for itself. What did he have? 9 rings? No, 11 rings, right? 11 rings.
Yeah, because he has 2 in
so, I mean, you can argue until the sun goes down, but 11 rings, I mean, that is what it is. But so
I mean, you need the players. No matter how good of a coach you are, you need the players. Like, look at Greg Popovich. He has like all young players right now. It's going to be a struggle for him to make the playoffs. But like, if he has a superstar,
But the Spurs are still like, they're not. Even when they lost everybody, they weren't bottom feeders like they should have been. He still has that team out there like battling. I think he made the playoffs the year after he lost everybody. So like that, to me, you can't question that greatness of coaching. That dude, he's getting it done with people you never heard of. I mean, so come on now. But
Spurs have a lot of young talent. They didn't make the playoffs last year, but they have a lot of potential, I believe. So.
Their trajectory is pretty big. I mean, it's just youth. It's just youth.
And Kawhi hates him, but I don't think Kawhi is half the player he is if he didn't get drafted there.
I don't know.
The perfect system for him.
I don't know if Kawhi hates him. I think he hates like the medical staff. Like he has trust issues, honestly.
Yeah.
After he was injured and then he had to come back and then he got re-injured, so he's even taking his time right now with the Clippers just to make sure his body's right. So,
and that I don't blame him. You can't ever trust the team's trainer. I've heard too many horror stories. A receiver with the Broncos back when my brother was playing here. Well, I probably shouldn't, because I could probably get in trouble for saying this stuff, so I won't. But I just say, don't trust teams' medical staff. Their job is to get you back on the field. It's not to get you healthy. So I'll leave that at that. Was there any other of our takes you wanted to challenge us? You want to get into the betting?
I mean, I don't remember quite off the top right now. So
if anything comes to you, can jump back into it.
Yeah, we can jump back into it.
I don't know if you had some stuff lined up in your mind you wanted to talk about as far as lines and stuff this weekend.
Yeah.
But there was one kind of crazy one that jumped out at me that I might want to throw some money at. It's New Mexico State at Alabama. And Alabama New Mexico State getting 51.5. And the reason that jumped out at me is because Alabama is 4-13 against the spread when the line is over 30 points. And New Mexico State can pass the ball. So that's kind of jumping out at me a little bit there. What do you think of that?
I mean, yeah, from my past experience of following Alabama, whenever they play like a lower ranked school, usually they cover the first half spread because all the starters are playing. And then once they have a huge lead on the second half, they put the backups in, and then the back door is always open. So
that's two plays for you.
Taking Alabama, I would probably recommend taking the first half, and otherwise, I would lay off. I don't like playing big spreads personally because there's a lot of things that could happen that could just change one score. I've seen so many backdoors. So usually big spreads I lay off unless you like the underdog. So in your case, if that's your lean, go with it.
First of all, you're on the show because you're the expert. So whatever you say to do, I'm doing it. Yep. The first half line, I love the first half play. Second half, the reason I was feeling, the game spread, the reason I was feeling that is because Saban, he doesn't really have a reputation of embarrassing teams. Alabama, they score a lot just because they have NFL players, a full roster of them, but they don't go out there just trying to, and they don't have to run up the score to get points in the voters' minds because they're Alabama. So that's why I feel that spread is in play. But, another one that jumped out at me is, and this is near and dear to Harish's heart, so I'm going to let you touch on this before David jumps into it. We got Michigan at Penn State today. How do you feel about that one? The spread is Penn State's getting 2.5.
Ooh, so see, the problem with that.
Harish is a Michigan fan, in case you didn't know. Big time. See, look at that. Look at that there.
Go blue, go blue. So that's tough because the way they played against Michigan State, I think they covered. I'm not sure if they covered the.
No, they had to have been favored. Michigan had to have been favored in that game.
Yeah, Michigan was favored.
Michigan State won that game.
Yeah, Michigan State did win that game.
Michigan State won.
Michigan State won that game. So I would take the 2 because Michigan, if they don't do anything stupid, they could beat Penn State. But I don't see them. 2 points. Yeah, that's.
What are you thinking, David? What are you thinking?
I was actually looking at that game.
Yeah, I know you were.
I don't know. 2.5 seems like a trap. I don't. It's hard to play on Penn State, but it is a day game. It's not a night game. It's not like a whiteout game. So, Michigan is a better team. If they just execute, they should cover the spread. They should win that game.
Should.
They should have beaten Michigan State. But,
that was a great game, though. They lost. That was a great game.
It was a great game. It was a great game.
If they didn't switch the quarterback, they would have won.
In college football, especially, you're betting on kids, right? So I feel like there's a lot more variables, a lot more crazy outcomes that I see happening in the college sport. And, a lot of bettors like betting on college games just because of these variables. I don't like the craziness. I like having more of a.
Is it because it's too risky?
It is a lot more risky. I feel like college is a lot more risky. It's a lot more fun, a lot more adrenaline, but
more action too.
Yeah, but more action. I understand.
So you pretty much, want to be in control of what you want to do.
Yeah. But it's gambling at the end, so a lot of crazy outcomes happen regardless of what sport you're betting in.
So what was your lean? What's your pick on the game?
I would lean Michigan. The line did move. I think it was 1 or 1.5 earlier, and then it moved to 2.5. So there's
somebody
late money.
Somebody might know something.
So I would lean Michigan, but. Would I be surprised if Penn State won? No, I wouldn't be surprised just because of the, you saw recently how they lost at Michigan State. So, but maybe Michigan will wake up after that loss. But if I had to choose, I would go with Michigan.
So you two are taking Michigan, Michigan 2.5, favorite 2.5. I'm taking Penn State outright. That's my lean. I just have a feeling.
Okay.
I want to believe in Harbaugh. He's not in any danger of getting fired or anything, but he always loses. I mean, it's usually Ohio State, but he always loses that one game. And I feel like this one, I think they might actually get Ohio State this year, but I think this is going to be that one loss that just doesn't make any sense. So that's my lean. So just to run it back, we got first half Alabama, and then we're them two are taking Michigan favorite 2.5.
2.5.
So David, I'll let you pick it up from here. What else do you see jumping out at you on the either Sunday slate or college or NBA, anything?
Let's see. College. I mean, I've been looking at the NFL lines. I actually like Cleveland. At New England.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the line was. I think it was like there's less
It's
than
like
3.
yeah, I think it's 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, I like Cleveland outright. Patriots have been playing really well lately.
Yeah.
They're leaning on their pass defense. Cleveland's more of a run-based offense.
Yep.
Yeah, and Mac Jones hasn't really looked good either. They didn't even have to rely on him. So
they're trying to hide him.
Cleveland's defense, and Cleveland's defense is a lot better than any of the other teams that they've been facing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I like Cleveland in New England, and
the current line is +2.5. I'm confirming that. Over under is 45.
Yeah, I would take Cleveland money line for that game.
Yeah,
that's +112 on the money line.
So you think that's a safer bet? That's a safe bet or safe thing to play?
Well, if it's so, the points is -112. The money line is +112. I feel like I'd take that 2.5 just to be safe.
Just to be
Yeah, I mean, it's always safer to take points than the money line. You know?
And it's not that big of a difference between the money line and the point side. If I was going to play that, and I might play it out, I like Cleveland with the points.
So just because I'm a novice, I'm not like I've never done any of this. I try to understand,
and that's why we got you on, David, is to break down the points and all that stuff. Yeah,
right. So it's like for me, like who's a novice, like I can say, okay, I know the spread. If it's 2, are you going to take it? If it's not, so there's so many algorithms and there's so many other kind of breakdowns what people want to bet on a team. So let's take if it's the money line, does that mean, let's say if it costs, let's say $10 and the money line's like 2, do you get like $12 back, or is it $2, or is it completely different than what I'm thinking?
Well, and another thing, another thing you can break down for him as you're getting into that is what causes a line to move. Those are things he's wondering about too. So like get into money line spreads and moving lines.
Yeah. So for the money line, right? If you're betting a favorite, it'll be minus whatever the number, and then if it's an underdog, it'll be plus. So if you see minus like 110, right? That means you have to wager $110 to win 100. So if you so if your bet loses, you're paying $110, right? If you wagered 100, right? So and if it's plus 110, then if you wager $100, you win $110.
Yeah.
Because it's an underdog.
So your net effect is only $10 win, $10 profit.
No, you get 100.
You get
plus 10.
Oh, plus 10. So let's say if I bet $100 on an X team, right? Let's say their favorite, so I have to put in 100, and then I'll get back 100.
If they're favored, no, you're not going to get money on favorites.
Well, it depends. Okay, so it depends on what your how you wager. There's like a to risk option, or there's a to win option. So if you're betting to win 100, and it's minus 110, then you have to risk $110 to win 100. Yeah. But if you're just betting $100, you're getting back less. You're getting back like 90 some dollars. Yeah.
Dale, do you think
like
we should have like a Talking Hats like Talking Hats HD kind of a bet line, so like we can just put in some money to see
like our weekly favorite bets,
like our weekly favorite bets, and then we'll just like contribute, like say like $10 or whatever, not even at $100 or so, but some small money.
Is gambling legal in Colorado?
Oh yeah, it started here first.
You guys have the FanDuel and all that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So David, second question is, since which site do you prefer and which site do you recommend?
We're FanDuel guys.
We're FanDuel.
I mean, if you're a beginner, if you're a beginner, I would
Mhm.
try to just decide what the best promotion, so you could get
Yeah.
the most amount of free bets as possible.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of, so in Virginia, there has been a lot of new sports books that are opening,
Mhm.
or that has been opening, like FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesar Sports, MGM.
Right.
Um,
And you got
What
the
about
they all
in-person.
have
Course.
different types of, they all have different promotions. So they do
Got
like a cat, they do like a bonus match bonus, whatever you
Mhm.
deposit, they
Gotcha.
give you that amount of free play.
Mhm.
Usually the lines are similar. I mean, the lines, you know, if
Mhm.
you become like a degenerate gambler and then like you're really into it, people
We're not
like
telling you
study
guys
that.
to go bet out everything. We're just giving
Yeah.
you examples.
I am. Bet it all.
Yeah.
Let it ride.
No, people follow the line because like the reason lines move, right, is
Mhm.
the whole point. The way casino makes, or the way like the sports book makes money is not by like, they want to get as many bets as possible
On both
from
sides.
both sides, because they make money by the juice.
Mhm.
So the
What does
juice
that
is,
mean?
okay, so what I mean by the juice is like if a spread is -3,
Mhm.
it's usually -110,
Yeah.
which means you have to wager $110 to win 100. So there's 10% juice for every bet you make.
Oh, is it almost like interest, like the VIC
It's
or
like
something?
it's like a premium. It's
Like a
kind of like a
It's a
premium?
premium.
Okay.
premium for every
Yeah.
single wager that you make. It's there's like a 10%.
Mhm,
Usually
mhm,
it's
mhm.
110. If you
Mhm.
find a good book that gives you 5% juice, then
Mhm.
that's great. I recommend you use that
And
book.
are all the lines
Um,
same for all of them, or are they all different? Let's say if you
they're
take FanDuel,
they're
is that
usually
line the same
okay,
for something else?
so when it comes out from Vegas, it's all the same. But
Yeah.
then there's different number of users on different sports books.
Mhm.
So if one book takes a lot more action on one side, they will move the line, and that
Yeah.
line might be different from on another book because they don't have that much action on that game. So yeah, so for example, we just talked about the Michigan Penn State game. I think it opened at 1 or 1.5, and moved
Yeah.
all the way to 2.5, and moved a point.
Mhm.
What causes that is the books are taking a lot of money on Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So they moved the line away. So they're trying to get more action on Penn State, because to mitigate risk, what sports books do is they move the line so they could try. Their goal is try to get even number of action on both sides. So they just take the juice money. So there's no risk if they lose, right?
Mhm.
But that's why when you see like Sports Center and they discuss like this week the books took a heavy hit, or the
Mhm.
public took a heavy hit, it's because most of the people have this wager on one side.
Mm.
And then if that side wins, then the sports book has to pay out. So the goal of the sports book is to take the same number of action on both sides. So that's why the lines move. So when you see a lot of money on one side, the line will move against it.
Oh, okay.
I bet
Makes
you.
sense.
I bet you the public got murdered on Thursday night with the
Oh.
Baltimore loss. I know
Oh
I
Yeah,
my
did.
God.
I'm sure that killed a lot of survivor pools.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was actually on Miami because
Mhm.
Baltimore
This
was
is your
coming off
theory
an
too.
overtime game.
This is David has this theory too.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I feel like teams coming off overtime games on a short week traveling, that's not a good situational spot for them. So, are you guys with me? Sorry, I just got a message on Zoom.
Yeah.
I just cleared it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So situationally, I like Miami because you're gonna be tired. It's an overtime game. You played more than the other team, and then you're on a short week. You have to travel.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Baltimore did look a little sloppy Thursday. I didn't think Miami would win outright, but
Mhm. I
it's
mean,
the
maybe,
NFL.
yeah.
NFL, there's a lot. It's a week by week, so
Mhm.
the trends are like it's hard. It's literally any given Sunday.
Mhm.
I mean, Jacksonville beat Buffalo. Who would have thought that? Like things like that happen. So
You know what? Speaking of Jacksonville and Buffalo, I think Buffalo is actually going to lose again this week.
Really?
who are they playing?
They are at New York Jets.
So in-town rivalry at Utah, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Who's
gonna
the
be a tough
quarterback?
one, though.
Whether they lose or not, the Jets are definitely going to cover at the very least. But I think they can win outright. It's
Who's
plus
the
13.
quarterback? Yeah,
The
I mean,
Jets
that's a lot
quarterback?
of points.
The
That's a
Jets
lot of points.
quarterback. The Jets quarterback is Mike effing White.
Okay, so he's
I
playing.
love
Okay,
Mike
you
White.
heard
He's
it
starting
here.
up.
You heard it here. We're calling him the new quarterback, and
I love Mike White.
you think Zach Wilson is gone? Like, are they going to step away from him? You heard it
I
from
don't
me?
know.
I don't know.
I don't think you can make that call after one game.
Yeah,
honestly.
they're not going to be forced to make a decision at the end of the year. He's on a rookie deal, so they can let it play out. I don't know what Mike White's deal is looking like. If he's up, they're going to have to make a choice.
Do you think Mike White is a good quarterback?
Me?
Yeah.
I love him. And the reason I do is because when he stepped on the field, he came out there like, this is my team. There was swagger behind him. He didn't come out there like some scared, unprepared backup. He looked like he'd been doing it like it was his team all along. And I love that confidence. I love his talent. His arm looked great. They had him in the beginning of his first game. They had him, checking down here and there just to get in the rhythm. Once he got in that rhythm, though, he freaking caught a touchdown pass. I mean, the dude is legit. He's the real deal.
So you think Zach Wilson doesn't have that kind of swagger?
No, he doesn't have the swagger. He's a Utah boy. He's burning in those bright lights in New York. What do you think, David?
I don't know. It's hard to judge rookie quarterbacks, I would say, because we see a lot of flashes and a lot of people that in their rookie year it's hard to adjust to the league. It's a different speed. You see different defenses.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard. Josh Allen didn't look awful his rookie year, but I knew. Yep. I mean, I liked him since he was in Wyoming because I knew he had the arm strength. It was just adjusting to the game. So I think it's still early to call, but we'll see. I mean, I like Zach Wilson coming in to the season, but he hasn't looked good at all. But honestly, none of the rookies have looked good this year.
No,
that's true.
I think Justin Fields has. His last game, he finally started to showcase what he's able to do. But so far, none of the rookies have impressed me this year.
So as y'all can see, the time is just flying by. We get going, and it's like, where did these past 30 minutes go? We're coming up on it here. We've got about 5 or so minutes left. So let's get back into the NFL slate. What else is jumping out at you on that before we wrap it up?
Man, I just can't.
I'll give you one.
I think I have one too. Go for it.
What is yours? I'm more curious to know if we're thinking the same thing.
So the Washington and Tampa Bay game that's coming up on Sunday. Because hey, I'm a homer. I gotta see. So do you feel that Washington can cover, or are they going to get blown out?
9.5.
Plus 9.5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 9.5. 9.5. Okay.
That's a lot. That's a lot of points. Yeah. That's a lot of points. I don't. I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose Washington.
Antonio Brown's out. Gronk is out. Godwin is game time decision. So.
Yeah, but Washington's defense has looked awful this year. They couldn't. Are they still the worst third down team in the league?
I think they're the 31st overall defense in the league. Maybe even worse now.
You can't. And we're playing Tom Brady, so I mean, unless all those
coming off a bye, coming off a loss.
Mm-hmm. Both. Yeah,
they are coming off a bye, so that gives me hope. I hope Gibson's healthy. And I don't know, Heineke he's been up and down, so
he's been drinking too much Bud Light.
He needs to have a great game for them to cover. Because
that's what we
Tampa
were talking
Bay's weakness is their coverage, so they need to attack them through the air. So we'll see. But I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose Washington. 9.5 is a lot of points. Anything could happen. You could get a backdoor, but it's definitely not like a sure pick because the defense worries me, honestly.
Yeah. How about throwing my pick in a tease with the Washington football team? My pick, I love it. I'm definitely throwing money at this one. Maybe a significant amount. Atlanta at Dallas plus 7.5. The reason I love
Ooh.
this, the reason I love it is because Atlanta is 6-0 in their last 6 against the spread, road non-conference games when the spread is 7 or more. This is 7.5. Frankly, I think they can win it outright. Still not buying Dallas. They looked so bad here last week. I love that, and I would love teasing that with the Washington football team.
But okay, but you said that's a non-conference. This is a conference game, though, right?
No, division. My bad.
Non-division, okay. I don't know. 7.5. I know the line was initially 10 or 10.5 when it opened, and it moved down 3 points. Last week was the first week Dallas hasn't covered all year. They've covered every game this year. Every game besides last week.
But they hadn't beaten Denver since Emmett was there. So
yeah. I mean, if you watch that game, Fangio looked like he was like really into it. He looked like he had a point to prove. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
where that came from.
Maybe it's because Von Miller's gone. I don't know. He seemed very excited.
Maybe because he felt like this might be his last game too. He would have been just like, "Hey, let it ride. I'm putting it all on black. Let's just go."
Yeah, he did go all out.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's hard. Will Dallas put up 2 stinkers in a row at home?
They
that
could
not look good. Dak didn't look good last week. So
you think his injury is still bothering him, even though he's fully healthy now? They say.
They're saying he's healthy. I don't. He just looked out of rhythm last week.
Yeah. Denver looked like they knew their place.
Yeah, that was kind of weird too. Like it's almost like sometimes you can predict, like, but the way they came out and played, it's almost like Dallas underprepared and Denver overprepared.
Well, and another thing people didn't consider, Denver's defense overall is not that great, but their secondary is solid, and they have the three corners that can cover Dallas' 3 receivers. They were able to man up with them, and that enabled them to bring the blitz more. They hadn't blitzed all year, but they were blitzing in this game because they have the matchups on the backside.
So David, I'm going to go back to your picks and how we kind of formulate to pick on. So with your expertise, I would say, how would you go about picking NFL games when it comes to the spread or the money line?
I mean, I look at situations, I look at trends. There's a lot of different types of bettors out there. There's people who just look at the recent trends or like head-to-head trends. Some people even look at like the referee assignments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Some referees tend to have more of a, favor the away team or the home team more. I look at all that. I look at recent performance. I look at DVOA, which is defense versus offense, their rankings, team strengths and weaknesses. So like, for example, for my Cleveland pick, it's the reason I chose Cleveland is Patriots are, their strong suit is against the pass. And Cleveland is really a run-based team. I don't know if Nick Chubb is cleared. Has he cleared the COVID protocol?
Dearness Johnson is starting.
He's out.
Yeah.
So he's not playing?
No, not playing.
Okay. But the backup looked good too, right?
Yeah, he looked
like
he could easily step in and be a starter.
Yeah, he had over 100 yards, I believe.
Yeah, like a 140 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was very ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, so I still think they'll do well. Mac Jones has looked okay. He looks like more of a QB that's just like tries to manage the game. I'm sure that's how Belichick is coaching him, not to make any mistakes. So I don't know, but Patriots' strengths are their pass defense. Cleveland's more of a rushing team. Cleveland has a strong pass defense. Their defense looks pretty good recently. So I would take Cleveland. So I mean, in those situations, I look at defense versus offense, recent trends. If there's an overreaction, a lot of times, the public, there's an overreaction from like a week, from 1 week, or if they see a team in a primetime game, see how they perform. There's a lot of overreaction. Like, so for example, last week or the week before, Vikings played Dallas. I think it was Monday night, and
Yeah,
Vikings looked awful
yeah.
that game. They looked really conservative. They lost a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
They,
that's Kirk on Monday night too.
yeah, I agree with that because I've seen Kirk, as a Washington fan, I've seen
Yeah.
him play, but I don't know if you could really put that on him. The play calling was awful. Everything was like
Yeah.
a free pass or like 5-yard pass. It looked like they had no trust in him. They didn't give Dalvin Cook the ball. So coming out of that game, you would think, oh yeah, Minnesota is an awful team, and then they traveled to Baltimore, and that game went to overtime, and they covered. So and they showed more of a fight. They leaned on Dalvin Cook more. So it's week by week. Coaches make adjustments. So yeah, I like to look at like the team's strengths versus weaknesses, and then see if it aligns with what the other team does, and also try not to make too much of a like a rash decision based on one performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was another game I liked this week.
I think you like Seattle plus 3.5 at Green Bay.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So I do like that. I actually do like that game.
Really?
Even if Aaron Rodgers plays,
I was kidding.
Russell Wilson. No,
yeah.
I mean Russell Wilson is he's an X factor. He makes that team.
Yeah.
We saw what that team looked like with Geno Smith, and I think Carson is back as well. So, and I know Green Bay's defense has looked really good lately, but I don't know. I think Kansas City's offense is broken. They've looked broken all year. So
they're not syncing.
I don't know if a Super Bowl hangover or after losing the Super Bowl, their offense has looked broken. So, and in case Rodgers doesn't play, if it's Love, he didn't look like he could complete a pass out there. And I trust Russ. Russ.
LaFleur took that on the chin for that one. He said he didn't coach him up properly, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't really blame him because it's a Thursday night game. He had a short week, and then news of the Rodgers, being out was like kind of last minute as well. Yep. So he probably didn't have much time to work with him. But yeah, so I like, and if you look, there's been a trend for primetime games. Most of the times the underdog covers. Oh. If you look at throughout this whole year, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, those 3 games, I think only 1 week the favorite went 2-1. The rest of the weeks it was either the underdogs went 2-1 or 3-0.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
that's a good nugget. That's a good nugget.
That's a good nugget. So everybody who's watching, if you're betting and it's the underdog on a primetime schedule, bet the underdog.
I would definitely take the underdog. I mean, Tennessee won outright last week.
Of course, they have Adrian Peterson.
Miami,
I'll try to give him my fantasy team.
Adrian Peterson coming back.
I know.
And and that spread is kind of fishy too. Tennessee -3. I don't know. That kind of feels like a trap. Kamara is also out.
Yeah.
And I think who's the quarterback for Saints? It's
Simeon.
Simeon.
Yeah, Simeon is starting. So
I need to jump in real quick. We have a herd out right here. I'm going to take a break. We have a guest coming up, but I haven't gotten in touch with him right yet. So I'm going to pause, take a break here. We're going to take a break. I'm going to jump on the other Zoom. David, I'm going to link you into that if you want to keep going. There's a lot of other stuff I want to touch on if you have time. Until I can line up our next guest. But I'm going to cut this here, start the other meeting, loop you in on that, and then we'll pick back up. Talking Hats, taking a break here. Thanks, everybody.